Rich DeMarco here in Arlington, Virginia at the Army-Navy Country Club for the Army-Navy press conference. The game coming up, the 112th meeting of Army-Navy next Saturday at FedEx Field just outside of Washington, D.C. Joined by the head coach of the Army Black Knights, Rich Ellerson. And Rich, your third Army-Navy game, the excitement to this must be palpable throughout the season, especially this time leading up to the game.
Right, you're right. This is one of those days, one of those events that leads up to that great Saturday that's coming just around the corner.
You followed the Army-Navy game your entire life with so many family ties to West Point. What does this game mean to you?
Oh, gosh. Well, I think it's what we're trying to do as a team, and I think individually and collectively what we need to do is use the history, use the tradition, use the fact that we've grown up with this game, with this contest, with this rivalry. We've been looking forward to it since we became aware of the institutions. And having said that, as we get closer and closer to the contest, we've got to be mentally present enough to put that stuff on the shelf and stay in the moment. Because again, once we get to the game, it's a game. First and foremost, it's a game. And if we're not really careful, we can carry an awful lot of baggage into this thing that can get in your way of staying in that moment.
Rich, this season's had its share of ups and downs. You've battled some injuries. You've had young players seeing a lot of action. How do you feel about this team after 11 games heading into this game?
Well, obviously, as you say, the season's been trying. You know, there have been some great moments. There have been some awfully tough ones. But throughout that, I really applaud our leadership. These guys have stayed together. The first thing you have to do in something like this is keep your focus and keep together, because adversity will pull you apart. Adversity can get in your way of taking that next step. And what throughout this contest, the guys have stayed together. They've stayed focused on the next challenge. They've been determined to establish a way to play. They've battled their tails off on the next snap and the next opportunity. We don't always like what the scoreboard looked like. We don't always like what that effort looked like, but it was there, and it continues to grow and improve.
Well, Rich, as always, thanks for a couple minutes. Best of luck leading up to this Army-Navy game.
Thank you.
That's Army head coach Rich Ellerson. The 112th Army-Navy game coming up next Saturday at FedEx Field just outside of Washington, D.C. For ITT Excelis Night Vision, I'm Rich DeMarco.